All right, let's just jump right in. We're going to break down this ridiculously simple system that can absolutely destroy procrastination and help you build pretty much any habit you can think of. And listen, this isn't about willpower. It's more like a psychological trick that kind of changes the whole game.
But first, we have to ask the big question, right? Why is it so incredibly hard to start something new? You know the feeling. You decide you're going to start working out or you're going to read more, and then tomorrow comes and crickets. Nothing. It's a feeling we all know, but the reason why might actually surprise you. It's not about being lazy. It's literally about your brain chemistry.
And this quote right here, this is the key to the entire thing. The brain flees from the big, but accepts the small. See, your brain is just hardwired to avoid huge, scary, intimidating tasks. But it has almost no defense against something tiny, and that is the loophole we're about to exploit.
Okay, so Section 1. Let's talk about the enemy. And I'm not talking about your lack of motivation or anything like that. The real enemy, well, it's your own brain. More specifically, it's this built-in resistance alarm that goes off whenever it sees a big, scary goal.
Think about it like this. When you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to train for a full hour, your brain doesn't see a healthy choice. No, it sees a mountain, a giant, unclimbable mountain, and it feels the weight of that entire hour. And its first instinct is to just back away slowly and say, "Whoa, that is way too much. I'll do it tomorrow." Yeah, we all know how that movie ends.
So how in the world do we get around this internal security guard that's always telling us no? Well, we use a secret key, and that key is the 1-minute rule. It's this simple but honestly profound psychological trick that's designed to make your goals so small, so completely non-threatening, that your brain's alarm system doesn't even bother to go off.
So check out what happens when you just reframe the goal. Instead of an hour of training, how about just one push-up? Instead of reading for 30 minutes, it's just read one page. The moment you tell your brain you're only doing something for a single minute, that resistance just, poof, it evaporates. There's no mountain anymore, just a tiny little step. And let's be real, anyone can do anything for just 60 seconds.
And this is where the magic really starts to happen. You know, the hardest part of anything is just getting started. But once you've done that one push-up, doing a few more suddenly feels pretty natural. Once you read that one page, the story kind of pulls you in. That single minute of action is like the tiny snowball you pack at the top of a hill that ends up starting a whole avalanche of productivity. And this isn't just some feel-good idea, okay? It's actually backed by science. There's research from Stanford on what's called tiny habits. And this work shows that these tiny little actions do something incredible. They give your brain a small hit of dopamine. That's the reward chemical. But they do it without triggering the brain's fear of effort. So you get the good feeling of accomplishment without any of the resistance. It's a perfect hack, really.
You know, this simple little trick is actually the foundation of a much bigger, much more powerful philosophy. It's known as Kaizen, which is the Japanese principle of continuous, gradual improvement.
I absolutely love this metaphor. A monster isn't born giant. It is born small and grows every day. Just think about your new habit like that. It's not born as this giant, terrifying thing. It starts out small, almost so small you barely notice it. But by feeding it just a little bit every single day, it grows and grows until it becomes this unstoppable force in your life.
And the real power here, it isn't in some heroic one-time effort. It's in the compounding magic of these tiny daily gains. I mean, getting just 1% better every day. It doesn't sound like much, right? But over a year, you don't just get 365% better. Because of compounding, you actually end up nearly 37 times better. That is the absolutely staggering power of just being consistent day in and day out.
And listen, this isn't just a theory. Look at James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits. He literally started by writing just one sentence a day. Or J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter in these little 15-minute bursts as a single mom. There are countless stories online, like this one Redditor who went from one push-up a day to doing 100 non-stop. It really works.
And this all leads us to the ultimate goal here. Because the point isn't just to do a habit. No, the point is to make that habit a core part of your identity. To transform it from something you have to force yourself to do into something that's just who you are.
This means we really need to rethink what discipline even is. We tend to think of it as this constant draining willpower battle, but true discipline, it's not about fighting yourself.
It's about building a ritual that runs on autopilot. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't debate it, you don't need willpower, you just do it. That's the goal.
So how long does that take? Well, we actually have a pretty good idea. Research from University College London gives us a benchmark. It turns out, on average, it takes about 66 days of doing something consistently for it to become automatic. So think about that trade. 2 months of 1-minute actions to build a habit that could last a lifetime. That's a pretty good deal, right?
And here's kind of what that journey feels like. The first week, you're going to think, this is silly, it's just 1 minute. But then, by week 4, you'll suddenly realize, I'm doing 15 or 20 minutes now without even noticing. A few months in, you start to feel that real shift. Wow, I've become a different person. And after a year, the change could be so deep that people around you might not even recognize the old you anymore.
Okay, theory is great, but let's make this practical. I'm going to give you the exact 5-step blueprint you can use to put all this into action, like the second this is over. Today, literally.
Okay, here's the game plan. Step 1, pick 1, maybe 3 habits you really truly want. Step 2, shrink them down until they feel almost laughably easy. I'm talking 1 push-up, read 1 page, write 1 sentence. Step 3, create a trigger. Do it at the same time and in the same place every single day. Step 4, track it. Get a calendar, put a big red X on every day you do it. Your one and only job is to not break that chain. And finally, step 5, after a week, maybe 2, if you feel like doing more, go for it. But that's optional. The only thing you have to do is that one tiny action.
So let's just wrap up with the single most important lesson here. We get so obsessed with duration, right? The hour-long workout, the 30 minutes of meditation, but we're missing the entire point. The magic isn't in how long you do it. It is in the simple, unbreakable rhythm of just showing up. Every single day.
So I'm going to ask you, directly, what's that one thing you want to change? What's the 1-minute version of that action that you could take, literally, right now? Don't just think about it. Actually name it. What is it?
Because the moment you decide on that one tiny action, you've already done the hardest part. The monster has been born. Yeah, it's small, it's fragile, but it's alive. And now your only job is to show up tomorrow and feed it again. And then the day after that, and just watch what it becomes.